Hello folks, I'm Ed Blackburn for San Angelo Rodeo Live. Hey folks, Ed Blackburn again for San Angelo Rodeo Live. We're having a great time out here as this rodeo winds up, and I'm standing here with Texas State Representative Drew Darby. Welcome.
My pleasure, Ed. Good to be with you and all the folks at San Angelo Live.
Well, I tell you what, I was thinking that I might talk to you a little bit about politics, but I think I'd rather talk to you about the rodeo and what you've been involved in.
I think that'd be great, Ed. I've been a part of this rodeo back since the early 70s. I moved back to San Angelo in 1972 from the University of Texas and started my law career and family here, and been a part of it. I served on the information booth and for a number of years and manned the facility when we'd have Wednesday night with family night. It seemed like there were always kids that got left behind at the rodeo, and their mamas had lost them, and so we'd go find them and make sure they got home safely. And of course, if they had any information about the show, we'd try to help them on when the steers were showing and what kind of disease certificates they had to have. And so that love of the rodeo was fostered back in the early 70s, and then as I grew in my community involvement, I ran for the San Angelo City Council back in 1999, and it just so happens during that period of time, the Development Corporation was looking to expand our presence out here at the Coliseum. We had dilapidated show barns. We didn't have an arena to show like we see the Spur Arena now. And so we had an opportunity to fund that through the Development Corporation, but we had to have approval from the San Angelo City Council. And there are, of course, 6 city council members and 1 mayor. And there was 1 member that just was not going to fund it, and so the vote came down to 4-3 against us. 4-3 against us to not do this Spur Arena. And so I called for a recess, and I asked that 1 council member, I said, look, this is going to benefit the whole city. And we outlined all the economic prospects of this. And so finally, after about 30-minute jawboning, I was able to convince him to switch his vote from a no to a yes, and we approved it 4-3. So the Spur Arena came out of that very meeting in 1999.
Would you say you used a silver tongue or influence behind in smoke-filled rooms?
I used whatever persuasive powers that I had, and literally the folks in that room were so involved in the process. I told him, I said, look out there, look at their faces. If you vote against this, they're liable to string you up. They're liable to string you up after this meeting. And I think whatever appealed to him, he got the message and changed his vote, and we approved that. And then later, after I got off the city council, I served on the Economic Development Corporation, and you see all of these new exhibit buildings, cattle barn, and this auction facility right here, all came out of that process with the Development Corporation in the early 2000s, 2001 through 2006.
One more question. How does the half-cent sales tax work?
Well, the state charges 6.25% on most goods and services sold here in the state, but it also allows local communities at a local option, if the community wants to adopt another half-cent. And so the San Angelo City Council has done that. They have adopted a half-cent to add it on to existing sales on the non-exempt items, not food, not drugs, but for all the other items, allows the city to collect that and then reinvest that back in infrastructure for the community. We've used it to incentivize industry to move to the region. It has to be tied to primary jobs, so those incentives are based upon returning growth, capital investment to this area. And so if you do that as a private company, then the city will reimburse you a part of those expenses for relocating here to San Angelo. It's also been used to finance projects such as the dredging of Lake Nasworthy. There's no question that Lake Nasworthy is an economic benefit to San Angelo and this whole region.
No doubt.
It provides the main storage for water here in our community. And so when we use that half cents to dredge Lake Nasworthy, we created an economic engine and preserved an economic engine for this state. We also used it to dredge the river, Concho River. We've used it to build softball parks that have attracted state and national tournaments to this city, so that people and guests can come here and stay and enjoy this city, and hopefully spend some of their recreational dollars and know about San Angelo. This rodeo is a perfect example of attracting hundreds, if not thousands, of folks from outside of the city of San Angelo that come here and spend their motel dollars, they come here and spend their food dollars, recreational dollars in this city. I think it's a wonderful economic incentive, and it's something we've had in existence for a number of years. This is not a recent tax. This is something that we passed a long time ago, and it continues to provide the economic engine for our communities.
So I've asked the same question of some others that I've talked to. The question is, you have seen this evolve tremendously in the period of time that you've been here, and you must be proud of that, being a native.
Oh, 40 years I've seen it develop here just in my brief lifespan, and there are some that have invested way longer than that. They were here when there was very little here. I remember Richard Albert, for one. You know, he's part of Reese Albert, and you see a wonderfully paved concession area and parking lot, and all of that was Richard Albert, Reese Albert. They would take small amount of funds after every rodeo and then pave a little bit more and pave a little bit more and pave a little bit more. This has been an incremental process. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of folks who have invested in the concept of the San Angelo Fat Stock Show and Rodeo to help improve the quality of life out here in West Texas, and to help young folks that want to show animals and invest in those kiddos and make sure that they go to college.
A lot of focus on those young folks.
Oh, it's really the whole focus. We're all big boys and girls, and we like to have fun out here, and we like to, you know, be around the horses and watch the events. But the reality is, this is about the kiddos. It's about the young folks in this auction barn right now that have, through sweat and tears, have raised these animals, shown these animals, groomed them, had the discipline to take them around from county fair to county fair, and now this is the fruition. This is the payback at this final show here, and they're able to put money, sell their animals for a price. We're able to invest back in them so that they can go to college.
I would say that you would predict that it's going to continue.
Oh, this is we've gotten too big and too important right now to not continue. I see in the auction arena right now that there are a lot of young folks that are stepping up and are part of the process, and I have full faith that as we have taken that torch that has been handed to us, we're handing it off to the next generation, and I can assure you it's going to be well done and well received.
Did I see you buy an animal in there just a moment ago?
Well, you kind of add a part to it. I put up some money, and they are nice enough to include me in some of the animals, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to add some money, add-ons to a lot of the young folks that live in my district. It's my opportunity to contribute back to them in a small measure.
Well, switching over just a little bit before we close up here, I see your signs around here, so you are actively campaigning for re-election, are you not?
I am. We have to run every 2 years, Ed, and it's a process, and I have an opponent this time, but we're making sure that we get our message out there. I have a record to run on. I have an experience that I think is important for West Texas. This is not about not about Republicans and Democrats. This is about urban and rural, and this is a way of life out here in West Texas, whether it be the rodeo or what we do at Angelo State University. It's our way of life, and so I believe it's important that we have sound representation down in Austin to put forth our issues so that people in the urban areas just won't run over us, and they'll leave a little water for us, they'll leave a little transportation dollars for us, they'll leave a little education dollars, and we'll have the quality of life out here in West Texas.
Well, I know that the folks around here, most of the folks around here appreciate what you're doing. I certainly do, and good luck in your campaign, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, San Angelo Live.
We're thankful for the support of Jim Bass Ford and Bud Light.